Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I'm your host, Advin Villa. Today, we have kinesiology student and aspiring strength and conditioning coach, Isabelle Egilsson. We will discuss fitness, health, and self-love. Everyone, welcome. Cool. Thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem.
Yeah. Isabelle Egilsson.
Yes.
Yeah, how's your day so far?
It's been good. Busy. Yours?
Yeah, it's been all right. Just at work, the usual.
Yeah.
Went for a run, little
Nice.
15K.
Oh, yeah. That's this weekend, right?
No, we're the run today.
But you're doing a marathon this weekend, though.
Yeah, no, I got a marathon this weekend.
Okay,
but then, the day before that, the running club.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully, people can make it.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, gosh. I don't know where to start.
Yeah. Start wherever.
Should I just say what I said there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I am a kinesiology student in my last semester. Right now, I'm actually working with a company that works with hockey players, so elite hockey players, doing their off-season strength and conditioning training. So that's very busy. It's very fun. I love it, but that takes up a lot of time right now. I am a cheerleading coach as well. I used to do cheerleading. This is my last year, this past year. I also bartend and serve on the side part-time. And yeah.
Yeah, you've always been a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For the longest time, you've had all these responsibilities.
Yes.
Do you find it ever gets heavy? Like you don't want to do it?
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. What are some tools that you help you implement to be able to adapt to this busy schedule?
Definitely intentionally setting time aside for myself. And I feel so guilty for it all the time, but trying not to feel guilty for taking breaks. If I wake up one morning and I'm I have the day off and I have so much planned, and I just decide I want to read all day, that's fine. I end up usually feeling guilty, but I just try my best to let myself enjoy it and let myself take those breaks, because I do get very stressed out and very burnt out very easily. Just because I do like to pile a lot on my plate, but just intentionally doing those things. And then obviously exercise is huge too, just to allow my mind to be cleared from anything I'm dealing with. And then otherwise friends and family, making sure I'm spending time with them and letting myself separate from everything off, letting myself separate from work and school and everything
Sometimes
else.
we can get so bogged down to all the responsibility, work, school, and finding our place in the world that we forget that there's all these things that we need to do in order to be happy. Well, these things are great for our future success, and we want to make an impact, and we want to do charity work one day, and we want to have a family. We have friends, family, and there's exercise, and there's things that we can do to be able to alleviate the tension of just the societal expectations and all these things coming at us. And there's a lot, people expect out of many adults and actually everyone to be able to support the community as best as they can, to be doctors and lawyers, and not only that, have a family. And it's great that you have these things, these activities that are able to ensure that you are, in the works, and you take time for yourself and alleviate the tension that does happen from having such a big course load. So with fitness, what inspired you to pursue a career in kinesiology and strength and conditioning coaching?
I think honestly just my entire experience with fitness, and it's been such a huge part of my life ever since I think the first time I went to the gym was in grade 11. I was 16 years old. And I think it was October 7th. I have a Snapchat memory of the actual day that I went to the gym
Millennium Place?
for the first time.
Millennium Place?
Sorry?
Was it Millennium?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And so ever since then, it's just been a huge part, and learning so much about it and learning what I was doing back then that I struggled with, and knowing that other people struggle with that, and then going to school and learning so many different things about fitness and about health and all the aspects of it. I really want to be able to help other people with that and either inspire people to pursue a fitness journey of their own, or just help enhance other people's who are on them. That's something I would love to do, just because if I had somebody to guide me back then I probably I would have struggled a lot less with a lot of things.
You found this joy that was able to enhance your physical and mental capabilities, and you didn't have a coach there with you, and you found this passion, and you want to be able to extend this passion to others who may have been or are lost right now, and they need guidance, right?
Yes.
And you want to be able to coach them. And why'd you start going?
Why? It was like a combination of things. Like, it was a friend that brought me with her the first time, and there was like a boy had made a comment about my body in some way, and so I was like, well, guess I got to go to the gym. And at first it wasn't like going to the gym wasn't to be stronger, wasn't to be healthier, it was to be skinnier. And that I feel like is the similar situation for a lot of girls and a lot of women. So that was like essentially the biggest reason why I went to the gym. Like, I had no intention of like building muscle. I was just like, need to be skinny. That's it.
You mentioned that this boy made a comment on your body, and it made you like insecure about it. Hey, and I find like talking to a lot of guys too, and some girls that, that is a primary thing that we all feel insecure about our bodies. And I was the same way. And I thought that this one girl would like me if I started going to the gym, and I would work so hard at it, do cardio, and like look up all these YouTube videos. And I didn't really know what I was doing. But there were some beginner gains, and I saw some progress. And what ended up happening was the guy started liking me. Like I started getting encouragement.
Opposite.
Wow, bro, like you're so huge. Like, how do I become like you? And I forgot about the girl. Well, it was still sad. And like the only reason I started it was for this girl. I wanted her validation. I built this community, and I'm sure you're the same way. You're a coach now, and you surround yourself with women, and you guys empower each other, and you give them advice. Right? So did you regain your confidence by going to the gym?
Yes, 100%. That like played a huge role. And then like cheerleading also, like being in a sport also played a huge role in confidence, just because being able to see yourself succeed at things builds confidence naturally. Like when you reach your goals, instant boost of confidence right there, because you did something and you succeeded at something. So how could you not be a little bit proud of yourself?
That effort, hey, where at the start you're like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? Like bench press or squats? Like, is my form okay? Are my knees sticking out? What are people thinking of me? And then months later, you look back at yourself and you go, wow, I've learned so much. I'm at a stage now where I can teach people. Maybe I'm not professional, but I'm certainly not a beginner anymore. And just the confidence that you get from that. While it's great at the start, though, what I find with a lot of people in the gym culture is the more you go to it, it's kind of this like graph where it kind of goes up, and then slowly as you keep going, then you start looking for like flaws where it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. And then because you see on social media all these like elite athletes who are not really natural, and a lot of them are using Photoshop. For me, like at the start, sure, I gained a lot of confidence. Like, whoa, I can lift this much, and a lot of the guys think I'm cool. Some girls think I'm okay. Then I start looking in the mirror and go, why am I still the same size? I'm putting in all this work, and why is this person bigger than me? This person is that. And then we had mentioned off camera that comparison is the thief of joy. And what's your experience been like at the gym? Like, was it the same, or the more you went, kind of the more you actually saw flaws, and it created this mental unhealthy space.
Yeah. Especially like the deeper I got into it, like at the beginning I wasn't super serious into it, but the more serious I got with it, the more I self-critiqued myself, and I was like, or like the body dysmorphia, like you don't see yourself how other people see you. Like other people are like, wow, you look so good, you're so strong, you're so toned, whatever. But then you look in the mirror and you're like, I see the complete opposite. And you're like, I need to work harder, I need to be better. Everybody else looks better than me, stuff like that. So it's hard. Definitely the more serious I got.
And that's a pattern with high achievers.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, those people say that about you, but usually those people are the types like not to be, you don't surround yourself with those people, and they're great. Like I've had many friends that do compliment me and do all these, they say all these magnificent things about my body and about, but it's just, you want the person that is bigger, that looks better, right? And it's just, it's this like never ending loop, because then once you hit a goal, then you're looking at another goal that's way higher. And it's just like, it takes away a lot of peace. And that's kind of like, I've done a lot of meditation, and I like a lot of reading a lot of like mindset books about like, okay, we should judge people by their souls and not by like their bodies.
And it got almost to a point where like it was like paralyzing. And I feel like that's with a lot of things I do, because I do want to do so well at things that it just becomes almost overbearing to the point where I just almost give up, because I'm like, I can't succeed. And I feel like that's happened with a lot of things, like fitness especially. There's been points where I would just kind of fall off, and I'm like, well, I want so much for myself, but I feel like I can't get there. Like I feel like I'm just constantly comparing, and it's just such a negative mental space that I'm in that I just like completely fall off for a bit until I have to regain that love for it again. But
yeah, I completely relate, where you don't accomplish the things that you sought out to do. And so you make it so heavy on yourself that it's just like, wow, it's a lot on you. But at the end of the day, you neglect the beauty and the struggle, right? Because you were at level 5 at one time, and I, like in many facets of my life too. I now I'm at level 30, and I forget that I was once at this point, right? But it's like that constant reminder that we have to implement to be able to withstand just the negativity of the mind.
Yes.
And can you explain the key differences between strength training and conditioning, and how both are important for overall fitness?
So strength, obviously, like that's key for a lot of things. Like you have to be strong enough to walk yourself up the stairs, to carry in your groceries, like all these things. Like it's so necessary for everyday life. In fitness, obviously, like you're building muscle, you want to get stronger, you want to bench more, you want to squat more, whatever it is. The strength is like your muscular,
just like the like the bench press, and like how like the numbers, the weights, to be able to move it.
And then being able to move weights, being able to lift, that's like the strength. The conditioning aspect is like the cardiovascular aspect of it. So for like athletes, obviously, like they have to be strong, and then they have to have a very conditioned cardiovascular system to be able to perform their sport to the best of their ability. So that's essentially the difference. Like there's a strength aspect, there's a conditioning aspect, muscle and cardio.
I would say conditioning is much more important. I'd say from my personal experience. Yeah. Because I've met so many bodybuilders, powerlifters that are huge. Like they're just like enormous, and they have big numbers. They're in the 1,000-pound club. But you see them walk up a flight of stairs, and they're like
they're huffing and puffing.
Huffing and puffing, or like they can't reach their back because they lack the stretch aspect. Yes. And that kind of defeats the overall purpose, hey?
Yeah. Like there's no overall fitness there. There's no actual longevity in that. Like a lot of things we do, especially in our like 20s, they transfer through the rest of our lives. So somebody who's very fit now, chances are you're going to continue to be fit and then you'll have a better quality of life as you age. Like your bone mass is denser, you have more muscle. You can lose it if you don't use it, but chances are you're going to be using it. And then as you get older, it's a lot harder to build muscle. Like past your 30s, I think I want to say it decreases by a pretty big amount each year as you age.
I know
that you can build
testosterone in
muscle.
men just like drops drastically. Hey.
Yes.
And then for women, I know women also have testosterone, right? By like a little bit.
Yes, but not as much. And then like your estrogen drops and all these things that happen with your hormones, and it just makes it so much more difficult. Like women, especially like osteoporosis is very common as you age, because our bone, whatever, like with the estrogen, our bones just become less dense. But loading your bones with weight, so like weightlifting, helps increase your bone density. So the more you lift weight, the stronger you are, the less likely you're going to develop these diseases. And that's like as it is with so many different things that have to do with fitness. Like your cardiovascular system, it's your heart. Like you need to keep that healthy to maintain that as you age. It can prevent like strokes, heart attacks, things like that.
It's blood that's pumping up to literally every single part of your body, and it just supplies you with oxygen. And failing to acknowledge that and build up to a healthy cardiovascular system can really bite you back in the butt
100%.
a decade later, or even like a couple years later.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously. And it's hard because it's not like as fun. Like lifting weights is fun for a lot of people just because it's a little more exciting, like it's aggressive. But like running, doing stuff like that, like you have to really work at it to enjoy it. Like personally, I have struggled with that, where I didn't take care of my cardiovascular health for the longest time because I was like, it's not fun. Like I don't want to run for 30 minutes straight and do nothing. But there's so many other ways to do it. Like I love the run club on Sunday. That was so fun because you're with other people who are also running, and then you get to talk. So it's distracting from what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Just, I want to do that every weekend, and like typically every Sunday, because I just want to bring people together, and just because I think cardio is freedom, like Freedom Run Club.
Yes.
No, thank you for coming to that. Like I want to do one on Saturday instead, early in the morning. I don't know if you can make that, but hopefully you can.
Yeah, this Saturday?
Yeah.
I probably could. I'm going to Morgan's like HIIT class.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I'm scheduling it before because I know a lot of people are going. Yeah, like 9 or 10 a.m. And then it'll be like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, what common mistakes do you see people make in their fitness routines, and how can they correct them?
This one, there's a lot, and things that I've done myself. And a huge one is trusting everything on social media and just following these accounts that just promote fads and things that don't actually promote sustainability. Like the basics are what promote sustainability. So running, lifting weights, eating healthy, in everything in moderation. Like, okay, let me backtrack. I'll come back to the eating part after, but like there's so many trends on social media that
can definitely morph your reality, and like because someone's confident in the way they look and the way they say something, like you could say, like, I could look at you in the eye right now and be like, the earth is flat, Isabelle. Okay, I've done all the research, I've talked to all the people, and it's just flat. I've done all the research. But the thing is, everybody knows, and that's just like a rational, like irrational thought, and everybody knows that is obviously false. But when it comes to diet and exercise, there's all these things that could be right, but that could be wrong. And people, but this guy sounds confident, so believe.
And people don't know what they don't know. So somebody who, like, thankfully, now that I've gone to school, I'm more educated on certain things. But a lot of people don't, obviously. So they see something on social media, and this person who looks this way is telling them to do this. So they're automatically like, I have to do that. Even though everybody is different. Everybody has different needs metabolically, different needs or preferences, even with fitness. Like not everybody has to do the same thing.
Even emotionally.
Do what you like.
Everything. Do what's best for you.
And that's a huge thing, is that people try and copy other people, and they try and copy their routines to a T, but it's not going to work for everybody the same. What you do isn't going to work for me. What I do isn't going to work for you. And that's just because we're two completely different people.
You're right. We are composed of different genetic material, just different upbringing, bodies adapted to a certain way, different allergies, mindset, just even emotionally, we are more, we more resonate with people that are just in the person that aligns with our personalities. And to say that everyone will benefit from a carnivore diet or veganism or, you know, insert diet plan
or a
program
certain workout thing.
Yeah,
like
that's
all these popular things. Like Pilates is great for certain people and for certain reasons, but it shouldn't be the only type of exercise you do all the time. You should be able to mix it with certain things, but just doing that doesn't benefit all the aspects of fitness for you.
You have to look at it holistically. Okay, how do you feel with this one piece of broccoli? How do you feel with the corn? And when you mix those two, how does that feel?
Yes.
With this exercise, okay, when you're doing squats, does it bother you? How long have you been doing it in your family? Who's built? Ask them. Just how does it make you feel? For instance, like maybe a preference. Like sure, maybe squats makes you huge, but maybe you just don't enjoy it. Maybe that's just something you don't like,
and don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it then. Maybe you go rock climbing. There's so many different facets that you could take, and just because you see your favorite fitness YouTuber do this certain thing doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And just because they're confident doesn't mean they're credible. And just because they have built up their resume doesn't mean they have the best of intentions. They could just want the money. And
exactly.
That's certainly like a big mistake that people make when they're just starting, is they get so psyched up when it comes to just, oh, let's running. That's all I'm going to do. Or like weightlifting. That's all I'm going to do. No. Like diet wise too. That's all I'm going to eat. You have to do what's best for you. And it's trial and error.
Yes.
This is a lifestyle, like a journey. It's not just like you pick one and that's it.
Yeah.
No, you're going to go through a lot of setbacks. You're going to go through just a lot of stomach aches.
Yes.
And
literally.
no, literally. But one thing is true though, is just all fast food is bad and just processed is bad and just like high sugar, high, too high fat. And you can tell which ones are the unhealthy ones. And I'd say that if the average person goes away from them, like just doesn't eat McDonald's, maybe they don't need to follow this whole keto thing. And
exactly.
Like, I'd say like for me, that's what's worked. It is I see food and I go, is that healthy? Like I don't need to look at the macros or anything.
Is this going to make my body feel good? Am I going to feel uncomfortable for the rest of the day after I ate it? Probably. Then I probably don't want to eat it.
It's so easy. You don't need to track it. And maybe at the start you need it to be able to track, to
just
be able
kind of be conscious about like what things are, because after you learn how much protein is in this thing, then you kind of know, and you can
you
just
kind of have like a ballpark
it.
estimate. Like, okay, that cup of rice, it's like 250 calories, X amount of carbs. And okay, this type of food doesn't have any fat in it. Okay, that must mean that the similar one that they pair up with rice, like potatoes, probably is the same thing.
Yes.
And then with chicken, okay, this many kilograms or grams is X amount of protein. It's like, okay, maybe beef is like similar. And it's like, if you take that mindset, if you take the time 2-3 months of doing that religiously, you're just gonna be able to look at a piece of chicken or like a meal and be like, okay, this and this and this. And you're not gonna be super accurate, but you're gonna know what you're putting in your body.
Yes. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like everything is a lot more simple than we think it is. Like if you want to gain weight, eat more calories than you're burning. If you want to lose weight, eat less calories than you're burning. So it's like a basic formula. It just gets so complicated with things that people are told on social media and things that people read on the internet.
Just like, the anabolic window.
Yes, like that is not true. Drinking a protein powder after your workout, whether it's 30 minutes or 2 hours, isn't really going to make a difference. It's like it's getting digested the same. And it's just, maybe it does make a difference if you're like if you're in like in the 1% of the 1%, like elite, you're going for top one, like Chris Bumstead.
or I don't know, insert X
Yeah.
female bodybuilder. Yes, sure,
Mhm.
it's gonna matter. You're gonna need to talk to scientists.
Yes.
But if you're a person that doesn't have any intentions of going into that, elite route, you just want to be healthy,
Yes.
there's really no point. You just like, if it makes you feel good,
Mhm.
do it. If it doesn't make you
Yes.
feel good, don't do it. But let me retract though, because okay, exercise doesn't really make you feel good at the moment, but you should do it anyways because after in the long run.
Yes.
But I'm sure people know what I mean.
Yes. And you kind of
Um,
learn to love the feeling of it during,
Yeah.
in a way. Like it
Yeah.
feels painful, but it's like, that
Yeah.
it's making you
Mhm.
better. So it's more enjoyable.
From the previous instances that this
Hmm.
makes your body, your mind healthier.
Yes.
And Seneca has this quote, and it's you treat the body rigorously so the mind stays in line.
Hmm.
So the mind doesn't become disobedient.
Yes.
You ever have that where you're so anxious and you're so like
Mhm.
just like immersed in your thoughts that like, and then after like a gym session,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, like I can think properly
Yes.
now. I can like feel and I can
Mhm. Or I'm
everything.
feeling stressed and I'm like, oh, I haven't been to the gym in 3 days. That's
Yeah.
probably why.
That's probably why. Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
I truly believe that like sustainability is like the biggest thing, because if you can't do it long term, then there's not really a point in doing it, because it should be a whole lifestyle change, like a diet. Keto is not sustainable. That's just a fact. You can't do it for long term. And as soon as you stop doing keto, you're going to gain weight back, because do you want me to
That's
get
not
into it?
something
Because I
you
can
can
explain
uphold.
more why it doesn't work. If you like,
Mhm.
I can explain more why
Sure,
it doesn't
go
work.
ahead.
So basically with keto, carbs, each gram of carbohydrate holds onto a molecule of water. And so that's why, like, if you eat more carbs one day, you feel a little more bloated, because your body's retaining water because there's more carbohydrates in it. And so keto, you get rid of all those carbohydrates. You don't eat any. And so your body goes into ketosis, and that it burns the ketones rather than like the glycogen for energy. And then so the weight you lose on keto isn't actual fat for a long time. It's water. So you're losing water weight, and then you start losing fat, but then your body also eats its own muscle, because it'll do that before anything else, just because it has to maintain fat for certain processes. Like your brain needs fat. Everything needs fat in your body. So essentially keto is not sustainable because of that, because as soon as you eat carbs again, if you have more than you're supposed to on a keto diet, I don't know how much it is, but as soon as you have more than that, you're just putting all those carbs back into your body. You're just going to retain any water back again. So it's going to look like you gain weight, and you will gain weight. So it's just not sustainable long term to do that. And then also like all the things that go with it. And any like low carb diet, like the brain fog. I've done low carb diets. It's not fun. You're so brain fogged. The mental toll that it has on you is so tough, because you need carbs to function, like for energy. They are energy, and that's just a fact.
Yeah. With keto, your body, instead of consuming or breaking down glycogen, it doesn't have that in the system because it's already being cleared up, because you're not supplying the body with any carbs.
Yeah.
It goes into ketosis.
Yeah.
And it gets the ketones right, to break that down. And as soon as you introduce carbs back into your diet, which you will, because in a ketogenic diet, it's still implemented.
Yeah.
It makes you look like you've gained so much more weight, because the body was stripped of water,
yes,
because of this diet. And so actually it takes a toll mentally as well. Did I kind of understand that?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And then like, obviously it's unsustainable, because our lives are so filled with, like, food surrounds a lot of life events. Like at a wedding, there's food. At a graduation, there's food. Christmas, everything. So it's hard to avoid eating all types of food. So cutting out a whole food group out of your diet just really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense like physiologically, because your body literally needs fat, protein, and carbs. So why would you cut one of those out? And then it doesn't make sense like lifestyle wise, because why would you put yourself through having to miss out on certain things? And not like you absolutely need food. Well, obviously you absolutely need food, but not like you absolutely need to eat those things at Christmas dinner. Like you don't absolutely need stuffing, but it just makes part of the experience of living just a little bit better. And so for myself, like I have put myself through extreme diets, and I don't think I ever could again, just because it puts such a hard toll on your body and mentally, because you're so worried about food. You're so consumed by the fact that this food, if you eat it, is going to make you gain weight, that you don't. And then it makes you miss out on things. So it's just negative all around.
Yeah, I've also tried keto. It didn't really work for me. And what's worked for me is intermittent fasting.
Yeah, that
and
one's
I
huge.
like fast for like upwards of like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every day. I've been doing this for like a year and a half. And one time I did 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. And I just feel good on it.
Yeah. And that's easy because you naturally do it. Like you go to bed at night and then you wake up in the morning. Like just don't eat before you go to bed, and then wait like an hour after you wake up, and boom, now you have a 10-hour fast. Like
yeah, my body's just accustomed to not needing food, and it just opens up so much more time and more energy for me, and I feel a lot more sharp. And I've tried an extensive array of different diets and just supplements, and now I don't do any supplements, and I just like do intermittent fasting. I run and I weight lift, and I do walks here and there. But yeah, no, I used to have an eating disorder. Like I wasn't diagnosed or anything, but I would, like I had, I guess in the textbook, I just learned that I did have this. In retrospect now, that I would eat like, it was like I was intermittent fasting, where I would eat lots of food, but it would be uncontrolled within this small time frame, and it would be of unhealthy foods because I held myself back from eating all these foods so much because, I can't eat that. And then I just put so much pressure on myself that boom, I just exploded and I ate everything. And instead of like putting my finger down my throat, I would just run. I would run it all off. Like I would put in half marathons, like on the treadmill or outside. And I still look great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'll give myself that, and I still look really fit, but mentally I wasn't.
And that's huge too. Like mental is everything. Like your mental health is, personally, I would argue that it's almost more important than your physical health.
It's more important than everything, because you can have success. You can have everything in the world, all the wealth, all the greatest relationships, all of the health, everything. But you could just not be happy. You could not be content. And I don't know, I like throughout my life, like I've definitely seen some people, some of my friends, where they have a great deal of stuff. They're rich, they're smart, and they're able to, things come easy for them, but it doesn't necessarily bring happiness. Right?
Yeah. And then there's some people, like there's a girl I follow on TikTok, and she's about our age, and she has cancer, and it's a very severe type of cancer, like very severe. But her TikTok, she posts, like her outlook on life is just so beautiful, and she has such a beautiful soul. And you can tell, like obviously it's hard on her having cancer, but the way she holds herself day to day is so
inspiring.
Like she's such a role model for me mentally, because I'm like, I should not, like, why couldn't I be happy every day? Why couldn't I have such a positive outlook on everything? Like, why I should be practicing gratitude all the time, because there's so much that I do have. I am healthy. My body does move. I can do all these really amazing things without any limitations, realistically. So allowing myself and not consciously pulling myself out of negative spaces just doesn't feel fair to me.
Yeah. And there's people that have nothing but have everything, and people that have everything but have nothing.
Yes.
It's just so, like, at which point do you go, hey, this amount of money, this amount of status, this amount of glory is enough?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I am having difficulty with, like, am I good enough? Like, is this like, I'm healthy. Like I have a good loving
Yeah.
family. Like I'm educated. They're putting myself through school. But then 10 years ago, this is what I wanted. This is like what I prayed for.
Yeah.
And I just forgot about it. And now I'm like looking for things that I need to have and I want to be. And I'm just wanting this life to be something else when really this is all I've got. And my friend asked me, what is a perfect reality for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I did some thinking, and I could say, oh, this big mansion, this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful wife that loves you, cares about me, a good family, just this elite job where people admire me. But then if I said that, right, that's what I would have said 10 years ago. But I just said right now, like I experience a lot of like sadness, a lot of happiness, a lot of guilt, shame, all these mixed emotions, melancholy, and I can try my best to be able to decipher what emotion it is. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually never fully know what it is, but I've been there before, I've done that. And this is life. Right?
Yeah.
These emotions will come even if you have the $100 million portfolio in the stock market and you don't have to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And people have asked me too, if like, oh, travel while you're young, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like do all these things while you're young. I agree with that. Like, great.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a lot more free time, but I'd say, I think just finding yourself is kind of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing for me, what you truly want, not just
Yeah.
all these accolades, right? Like be finding the line between like discipline, like hard work,
Mhm.
success, and like compassion and family.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does. And
Yeah.
like I feel like
Mhm.
learning how to live in the moment is really big for that too, because like people ask you like what are your dreams and all this, and yeah, it's important to think about the future and worry about the future, but if you aren't able to live in the moment and appreciate what you are right now for who you are, then what does it matter what you are in the future? Because you have to appreciate the past, present, and future versions of yourself to
You are all these things, the
Mhm.
past, the present, and the future, because
Yeah.
you're constantly thinking about it.
Yes.
That is you.
Yeah.
Right now, this is you.
Yeah.
And when you're not happy with your present self, what makes you think you're going to be happy in
Yeah.
the future?
Yeah.
And that's, everybody struggles with that. I
Mhm.
struggle with that.
Yeah.
I have family, and people that self-introspect are not oblivious to it. But the
Mhm.
people that don't ask them questions, oh, why do I feel this way? And I feel like you're the same way. You kind of gravitate towards, like, I think I saw your Be Real. It's like 101 essays to change the way you think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful, great book.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just, I wish I could embody that and like live
Yes.
that every day, all these
Yeah.
essays. But you had mentioned living in the moment, and I struggle with that. Like I definitely, when I am the most present, and I've heard many people talk about just their happiest moments where they can decipher just what the colors were and what emotions they felt, what they said, and they can describe it word detail
Yes.
with detail because
Yeah.
you're in the moment, right? Whether you were so excited, whether you were so angry, whether insert emotion, you're in it. And that's like, you're not thinking about anything else. You're there.
Yes.
Right. And that's like, you're in the moment. And that's, it's so hard when it's boring, when you're at work and it's just like your mind's going to, you know, that breakup, that,
Yeah.
that test, that
Yeah.
thing that you need to get done. But I did some more thinking, did some more digging, and I'm like, okay, be in the moment, but what if the moment sucks? What if you're just miserable? Like, what if everything around you is just absolute chaos? And I thought that hope is an antidote to that. When everything around you, because I've also been in the moment where it sucks. Being in the moment sucks. I can't be in this moment.
Yeah.
I would rather die than be in this moment.
Yeah.
That hope is an antidote to that. To be able to look at tomorrow and go, everything's going to be okay tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I realized that by running 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
And when I really wanted to give up, I wanted to give up at 20 kilometers. I just I had hope. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
finish this. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna forget about the present. Like
Yes.
it hurts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. And with hope, you can extend your mind, body, and soul towards
Yeah.
the
Something
like
better.
so far.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I know. I just wish I thought this way when I was younger. Because, like, I feel like I did not live in the present ever when I was younger. And you were saying, like, all these things and they can recall things, like memories, obviously. I feel like I don't have a lot of very vivid memories from, like, my teenage years and, like, junior high years. Because, like, I was always so worried about the past or the future and stuff like that. Or I was disconnected because of technology and stuff like that. And so now I find like my memories are so much more vivid now that I am consciously trying to be more present about things with family and friends and all that. And just like day to day, I'm trying to enjoy every day to its fullest. So yeah.
what made you turn to that chapter?
I honestly, it was like COVID. Um, COVID was like a huge shift for me, like spiritually. Um, I was like, it was honestly a pretty low time. Like when in 2019, November, I competed in a bodybuilding competition. So that was like the lowest of low afterwards for me. Um, just because of like the dieting, I was not eating enough. It was so tough on me mentally. And then afterwards, I just gained all the weight I had lost back plus a lot. And just like the mental effect it had on me eating so little for so long, like it really messed up my metabolism. It messed up a lot of things. And so being at that low of a point, after I competed, I kind of spiraled a little bit. I was like partying, drinking, stuff like that, like every weekend. And then COVID hit and everything stopped. And so I sort of had all this time to just be by myself and to think and to look within and dig within about what I really wanted for things and what I wanted for myself. And I had found spirituality within that. And really just trying to be like within spirituality, like mindfulness, meditation, and all that sort of stuff, like really getting deep into that really shifted my mindset for the better 100%. And everybody talks about how COVID was so bad, but I feel like if it didn't happen to me, I probably would have just continued spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. So I'm honestly thankful for it. And now because of that, I feel like I'm a more stronger person in a lot of ways.
If you could go back in the past and remove the time where you were at your lowest, you wouldn't. I just, every time I've asked people that, and I hear podcasters ask the most successful people that question, they always say no, because now you look back and you see the beauty in it, right? You're maybe going to bed, you feel so heavy, you're crying, like you don't know where to go,
Yeah.
you're spiraling out of control. But then now you go, I'm glad I went through that, because now it gives me perspective, because I was down on here. Now I'm up here. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I know what it's like on the other side.
Yes.
Meanwhile, if you stayed in that kind of, you're coasting, you'll never know what rock bottom is like. And it'll never be perfect. Like there's definitely like a lot of ups and downs in life, but you were there. You felt it, right? You know what's on the other side if you neglect your ambitions, if you neglect your dreams and your aspirations and mental health. And that's what made you who you are today. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, I feel like everybody's had that moment during COVID where it's like, oh gosh, this is tough. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life? I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Because it gives you time just in your room, and people either go crazy or people find enlightenment. And I've met some crazy people, and COVID really did fuck them up. But yeah, health. How do you define holistic health, and why is it important to consider both physical and mental aspects? And we kind of touched up on this, but if you want to elaborate.
Holistic health to me is just like all aspects of health. Fitness, nutrition, mental health, everything that encompasses health. Relationships are a huge part of health. Yeah.
Yeah. What's kind of the main parts that arise in your mind when you say health? Like, so there's the physical health, right? But then we had mentioned that focusing too much on the physical is like bad for you. But then there's like the mental. You said mental is like the primary thing, but like, what does that mean? Like relationships, like how often do you connect and what is connecting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just finding a balance between everything. Like balance is huge. Balance your mental health and doing things for you and for nobody else, but then also making time for the other people in your life. Because as much as you should be selfish about certain things for yourself, you also have to take into account other people. And so like making time, even if you have the busiest week, making time to spend time with your little siblings or your best friend or whatnot, like is important to maintain those connections for mental health, because without connections, like that also is going to play a toll on you, obviously, mentally. And then balancing like fitness, trying to find a good relationship and a happy medium between what you're doing, not being overboard with it where it's consuming your entire life, but doing it so that you stay healthy. Same with nutrition, like not putting an immense amount of pressure on yourself about it, but staying healthy and making healthy choices at least 80% of the time.
Yeah. Because you got to give that, you mentioned 80%, because there's the 20% where you're not going to fall in line with what you planned, right? And it's to not put in guilt on yourself when the things that you expected don't come to fruition.
Yes.
Is like such a massive lesson for me.
Yes. And then with everything too, like I'm a huge planner, and if things don't go to plan, I get very overwhelmed by it. And so allowing myself like 80% of the time for a lot of things, for things to go well, and then a 20% leeway for things to go other way. It's obviously hard sometimes, but like maintaining that has been very beneficial to deal with a lot of stress.
Yeah. Because things could arise and like you don't, life, just there's disease, there's just unexpected tragedies. There's like mental health issues, and there's just like a thing that you start to fixate on that you just really affects all facets of your life, to which you can't be who you are. And it's to account for that and go, okay, I need to, this is the 20%. It's okay. I'm trying my best. And it's that constant just mental massage where it's like, you're fine, Advin. Don't be so hard. You know?
Or like things like you're trying to eat healthy, but still allowing yourself to go out with your friends on a Friday night and go for dinner and have a drink or have a beer or something like that, and still being able to enjoy that, like not feeling guilty for enjoying life as a whole, because that's not fair to yourself either, and it's not fair to put yourself in that sort of situation, because again, it ties back into mental health. Like it just puts so much negativity towards things that should be beautiful in life, really.
Yeah, no, I'm actually 432 days alcohol free.
Are you actually?
Just like, but I didn't have a problem before.
Yeah. No, and like I know what you mean. Like, and some people choose to, and some people don't. Like,
I mean, like I know with some people, actually a lot of people that I know, alcohol is one of those things where if you took it away from them, it's like this massive thing. But I just took it away because I just didn't really feel the need to. I didn't really like it. Didn't really like being
it's toxin.
drunk.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
That's why like your body gets the reaction that it does, because it's toxic to your body.
Yeah. You're literally putting toxins in your body to just feel a little bit confident. And I feel like I can find confidence in other things, like the gym and just like the way I conversate, and I can extend my vocabulary, and I could act kind of drunk, kind of funny sometimes, you know? What role does nutrition play in achieving and maintaining optimal health, especially for athletes?
For athletes, obviously huge. It's huge. Like it plays a role in every aspect. Like performance day to day, even for non-athletes. Like you think if you're eating very healthy, like whole foods, one day your body feels better, you feel less bloated, your brain feels clearer, you have more energy naturally because you're focusing on eating what's good for you and you are consuming that and you're consuming all the nutrients you need, all the energy you need. Obviously for athletes too, like making sure they're eating enough. And that is a huge thing with athletes and non-athletes. Not eating enough is a big problem I've found for myself or like other women that I know, like friends and stuff like that, friends and family, honestly. Because like I was talking before, like the eat less, burn more to lose weight.
Calories
But
in,
the
calories
amount
out.
that people are eating, they're eating so little that it's just not really doing any benefit. Like if you have a fast metabolism and you're naturally burning, say you're burning like 3,500 calories a day naturally from just between your workout and between your like metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate. If you're burning that much, but then you're only eating 1,500 calories a day, like that's just a recipe for not good. Like you're just messing up metabolism, you're slowing it down, your body's not going to use any of the anything that you're eating except to store it just because it thinks it's in starvation mode. Personally, when I started eating more, I found that I leaned out more because I was eating more relative to what I was burning per day. Especially when you have muscle. If you have muscle, that increases your metabolism. And then if you aren't eating more on top of that, like it's just a whole mess of not good. So ensuring that you're eating enough, especially for athletes, like you're so active, you're doing so much day to day between practices, workouts, everything. If you're not eating enough to fuel that, you're just not going to see results. As it is for regular people too. Like if you're not eating enough, you're not going to be able to focus in class, at work, whatever it is. Like you won't be able to.
And as long as it's healthy,
Mm-hmm.
right, you can eat as much as you want.
Yes.
Actually, like if it's all veggies, if it's all lean meats, good
Mhm.
healthy meats of quality, maybe like preferably organic, but like just healthy,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna be doing anything wrong. If
No.
anything, like you won't gain anything at all, or you won't gain extra fat because your
Yeah.
body just naturally satiates properly
Mm-hmm.
when you're eating just healthy food.
Mhm.
It's
If you're
just
eating like
Mhm.
4 Big Macs a day on top of what you're
Mhm.
eating regularly, like you're probably going to
Mhm.
gain weight. Whether it's like fat, you're probably not going to gain muscle, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're a coach, hey, and what's kind of the diet that do you give out diets to
No,
your
absolutely not.
cheerleaders?
Unless you're actually certified as a nutritionist or like dietitian, you're not allowed to give any sort of diets. Cheerleaders especially tough because just the whole culture around cheerleading, like you have the top, the girl is on in the air. She's traditionally like a smaller, shorter girl. And so because of that, like there's like a pressure to stay small and stay like thinner. I remember when I was young, like 13, there was pictures circulating on the internet about the world's diet where it's like a whole list of things that you had to follow to have your abs ready for worlds. And it's like only eat salads, only drink 1 bottle of water a day, no pop, no nothing, no diet pop, just water. Only eat fruit. All this like bullshit basically to to lose weight and to be skinny for worlds. But that's not healthy at all. Not for an athlete that's burning a lot of calories. Like you're exerting yourself so hard and then you're not going to fuel your body to make up for that. So obviously I will always promote like a healthy, balanced diet, but I can't like tell girls what to eat or what not to eat, nor would I ever, because like I said earlier, like everybody is different. And to really know what works for you, you have to play with it. And unfortunately, like I wish in cheer especially there was more. It's tough because it's a sport that people pay a lot of money for, but not enough that you can get like resources accessible. Like ideally it would be great like if nutritionists would come in and talk to the athletes and teach them about properly fueling their bodies, because I know a lot of girls that I've been on teams with in the past that will talk about what they ate that day, and I'm like, that's all you ate? Like, we have a practice tonight that's 2 hours, we're working hard, and I'm wondering how they're sustaining that. So it would be nice if there was more education for us as athletes and for us, like for athletes to receive. But unfortunately, that's not where the sport is at yet. Hopefully one day it could be there, but
the funding's just lower than that compared to the other sports. Say that you guys don't have enough capital to be able to have all these professionals come in and talk about how to properly dose certain macronutrients like carbs, proteins. And what about exercises? You are credible for that though. Hey, like you're able to give out implement workout
yes, I will be
routines
eventually. Hopefully by the end of the summer I'll get like fully, like I have my kinesiology degree obviously, but I'll be like fully certified as a personal trainer, so I could give actual workouts to athletes, obviously not for free.
You're a coach.
I'm
though,
a
for
coach,
your
so
for cheer.
yeah, so right now I coach cheerleading. I'm just starting that, and then like that I basically just put together their routines, coach them through their practices and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And you're just kind of there to ensure that they follow through with the routines. That's cool.
Ideally, I think it would be really cool to be like a strength and conditioning coach for cheerleaders. Oh my gosh, sorry.
You'll get there. Yeah, no,
I think it would be really cool to do like strength and conditioning coaching for cheerleaders, just because there isn't a lot of that right now. So working with cheerleaders and making them strong, because there isn't a lot of emphasis around there is emphasis around being strong for the sport, but not in the right ways. So
can you share some effective strategies for managing stress and its impact on physical health?
Stress, I'm very bad at dealing with stress. Very bad. Like if I told you that I was good at it, my mom would listen to this and then she would message you and be like, you need to delete this. And
Isabelle is a liar.
Yeah. Because I know she will listen to this, but I am very bad at dealing with stress. Like I will honestly let it consume me to the point where it's just like anxiety about everything, especially like finals times of year and stuff like that. Like it just gets so high that I just don't know how to deal with it sometimes. But the best ways that I deal with it are finding outlets, separating myself from school and work and all that, like allowing myself to exercise, allowing myself to spend time with myself and read and journal and do things that I enjoy that don't involve the stress whatsoever. Because if I were to do something like, say the gym was stressing me out and I go to the gym, that's just going to add more stress because that is stressing me out. Like if I'm having a bad body image day or whatever, I'm not going to force myself to go to the gym because it's not going to make me actually feel better, because I'm going to look in the mirror after and be like, I look exactly the same as I did when I got here. Like the change doesn't happen overnight. So finding things to deal with that stress that don't have to do with that stressor has been huge for me. So yeah, I think that's a big thing.
One thing I read this from a book, Dr. Ellis Epple, The Stress Prescription, and one of the chapters, it's mindset.
Yeah.
You've got a lion and a gazelle. The lion is just wanting to eat. It's got the biomarkers of just high blood pressure and just dialed in, focused, and just running as fast as they can, adrenaline in the system. The gazelle is running away from the lion, and It's trying to survive. It's got the same biomarkers
Mm-hmm.
of just high adrenaline, just high cortisol, just stress, and it's just going as fast as it can. It's trying not to be eaten. And there's been many studies where either stress, you view stress as a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to eat, or you're the gazelle, you're trying not to be eaten.
Yeah.
Is it happening to you? Or are you happening to it? Like, are you welcoming it, or are you like, is it happening to you? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And when I go through very stressful moments, and I put on a lot on my plate, like more than I can chew, and I'm constantly stressed. I think this entire month, last month, wow, like I don't think cortisol has left my body.
Yeah.
But thinking that you're a lion, hey, that this stress that you have makes you grow. Like you just remind yourself that, hey, I chose this. This is me. I'm the lion. I hunt.
Yeah.
As cheesy as it is.
Yeah.
It helps. And there's been many studies on that. And the book, I recommend that to everyone. The Stress Prescription.
Yeah.
By just reminding yourself that, hey, this is going to make me grow.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you're stressed because of finals is because you're constantly stimulating your mind. You want to learn.
You want to do well.
You want to do well.
Yeah.
And the reason just with bartending and just you're a coach and you're doing school and you have all these things that you need to show up for when it comes to relationships, you're growing.
Yeah.
And just one little tip.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there anything you want to touch up on health? Anything else?
Health. Yeah. I think it just ties into itself. Like cortisol, not good for your body. It's good in moderation.
In the morning though. The morning, it's great.
Sorry, in morning?
In the morning.
Oh, yeah. In morning to like kickstart your day.
That's what makes you up.
Yeah. But too much of it is not good. It's linked to like chronic diseases and stuff like that. So too much of it for too long is not very beneficial.
Just the adrenal glands just like lose their ability to produce it properly. And it's just like you're in this disarray.
Yeah.
Let us talk about self-love.
Self-love.
Why is self-love important in the context of fitness and health? And how can individuals cultivate it? And first off, what is self-love?
Self-love to me personally is like the ability to truly love and accept yourself for who you are, for like your flaws and your strengths and everything that you are as a person. The
holistic approach, right? You accept the good and the bad.
Yes. And I think that's important in self-love. Like everybody talks about trying to be the best version of yourself and like, but you have to still accept the bad side of yourself to get better from that. Like you have to be able to acknowledge and accept like where you were at your worst, and you have to acknowledge and accept that you have hurt people in the past, but to move on from that and to become a better person. So loving yourself for those past versions of yourself and forgiving yourself for that is important to cultivate the self-love going forwards from that.
Yeah. Being able to move on when those debilitating events happen, whether it was your fault and whether it wasn't your fault and whether it's this and it's that. It's like, I'm just a person. Life isn't perfect. And you look in the mirror, you go, I love you.
Yeah.
And it's just, at the end of the day, you only have you.
Yeah, exactly. Like you enter this world with yourself and then you leave the world with yourself. Like, yes, you have people around you, but there's only one me inside me. So I'm the only person that gets to see where I go after. So I may as well learn how to love the person in here.
The quality of a person's thoughts determines the quality of their happiness. And when you cultivate all those thoughts, and I think it's like we go from an average of like 5,000 to 10,000 thoughts per day. And it's, what is that 1,000 thoughts? Like 10% of your thoughts. Is it calling yourself a failure? Is it calling yourself a degenerate piece of shit? Or is it like positive? It's like, and going back to that girl on TikTok who has a severe cancer and still having a lens of optimism and positivity and gratitude and love and respect and just accepting the negative. And I'm sure she does have those bad times.
Yes.
And she still chooses to live. And living is all we can really do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was gonna say something. I forget now.
That's all right. I'm sure the thought will come back later on.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone struggling with body image issues while pursuing their fitness goals?
To unfollow the people on Instagram and TikTok that you look at, and if you look at them and you say, I need to go to the gym right now, or I wish I looked like that, unfollow them immediately and stop comparing yourself. It's hard, but stop comparing yourself to them, because you're never going to look like them. The only person you can look like is you. So it's just a waste of energy and a waste of mental space to give that person, they don't know it, to give that person that time looking at them and wishing you look like them. I think that's huge, especially in the beginning of your fitness journey and all the way through. Like, even now, I still struggle with it. I'll scroll on TikTok and I'll see some girl and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, she looks really good. Like, what is she doing different? And but like, especially in the beginning when you're first starting, because it is really hard not to compare and not to want to do, especially when you don't know. Like, you want to do exactly what this girl is doing, because she must know what she's doing because she looks like this. So to be able to love yourself for who you are, just accept that you're not going to look like them and work on yourself, and don't waste your time looking at other people online.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
It truly is.
While you look at these people that have all these accolades and all these prestige and success, and they look like the pinnacle of health.
Yeah.
I always tell people, would you swap lives with them? I'd say 99% of people wouldn't. Like, let's say you just woke up and you were just the person who you were scrolling through and they had millions of followers, all these accolades, and you just woke up as them. Yeah. Wouldn't you just like freak the fuck out? Like, wouldn't you like, no, I am Isabelle Egilsson. Like, let me go back. I have my friends and my family.
My mom, my boyfriend. Like,
everything.
Yeah.
This is not me. Yeah. Take me back. And that's just, if you compare yourself to people, you should be willing to wake up as them. Yeah. But majority of people like wouldn't do that, because you have your family members and you know what
their day-to-day is. You don't know anything about them besides what they look like.
You don't know if they want to crash that Lamborghini at a 200 kilometers per hour within the next 30 minutes. You don't know. No. They could be the most attractive, most successful, most sought out after person. Yeah. I know there was this Jim Carrey had said, I wish people got everything they truly wanted, their hopes and ambitions, to know that it isn't the answer. Yeah. And I'm kind of fearing that too, where like I pursue like this podcast, just running and like pushing myself. Is this really what it's all about? Yeah. Like, because the goalpost is constantly moving. Like, we're constantly upping our wants, and do we really need it? No, we don't. Like, to be healthy, all you really need to do is just like have a good diet and like have like
move your body,
have sometimes like stretching, sleep properly. But we sacrifice internal modalities of well-being for external, right? To make more money. Yeah. We're like, oh, we're going to work more. Then at the same time, we sacrifice the internal modalities of, sleep, of social connection, and just well-being. It's like for more money, for more just schoolwork, and then more prestige. And it's like, is that the answer? Yeah. Or is self-love? But then at the same time, too much self-love, and what are you, like in the cave? Like, you're just gonna like look at the mirror all the time and think like,
you don't want to be too full of yourself.
Yeah,
because that's an issue I feel like some people have. But I've also found that it's almost a facade. Like, the people who overly project that they love themselves, they're honestly not. They're honestly deep down very insecure people. Like, a lot of people that I've met in the past that I'm just like, wow, you are so secure and so confident. And I really look at them and I'm like, but are you? Are you actually secure? Or are you just portraying something that you aren't. Like, it's hard to tell. We obviously don't know what goes through everybody's heads, but
yeah, I wish we could all just like stick like a USB in each other and be like absorb all their like true emotions. So like it's just zero lying, because even then when like you fully trust someone, there's always just like a little detail, right? That like they're leaving out just to make it seem maybe more emotional and more just honest. But then again, we all lie. Yeah. And it's just one thing that's part of human nature, because we want to just seem better than we really are. And I'm trying to just be truthful, because I think honesty is the best policy. Yes. And there's this book I was reading, it's called Dopamine Nation, and this guy, he was like in med school, and he was caught driving drunk, and he went to the lawyers, and they said he was gonna like, to be able to get rid of this charge, all he needed to do was plead not guilty. And like they had like his dad was in on it and everything, like the lawyers paid off, and this extensive just work just for him to go up on the stand and say he's guilty. And he went through like decades, and he eventually became a doctor, and then he had to like go to the board to ensure that he wasn't just drunk all the time. Yeah. All this sacrifice. And I think I really look up to that, because I think it's just like honesty. Just his reason was he remembers his dad telling him at a young age not to lie. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And just like that's going intertwines with kind of that self-love, and where you trust yourself. Yes. By just doing the right thing. Trust is a huge thing. Like I saw somebody talking online about it, and I like really resonated with it. And she was saying that to build trust in yourself, like you wouldn't trust somebody that lies to you and that doesn't follow through with what they say they're going to do. So saying like, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a run, and actually following through with that, you start to trust yourself more. And the more you trust yourself, the more that you can build a strong relationship with yourself, because that's also huge to self-love. Like you have to trust that you have your own back at the end of the day. Like, and trust is one of those things where it's just so fragile. Yes. Because as soon as you don't do the thing that you said you were going to do, other people are going to be like, is this really her, him? Like, is this really the person that said they were going to go out for a run, that they were going to show up on time? And the more that occurs, the more people just like doubt you, and then you even doubt yourself. And it's just being able to say what you do, to do what you say, walk the walk, not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk. Yes. That's like action. Well, yeah. And what makes you think that doing that to yourself doesn't harm yourself in the process? Like saying you're going to do all these things and start eating healthy and reach out to this one person or whatever, go on a podcast, join a run club, like doing all these things and then not following through with it. Like you're just slowly chipping away at the trust you have in yourself. And then actually following through with it, you're building trust. You're in turn like experiencing more. You're getting more out of life from it. So that just one thing leads to another. And now you've got all this self-love and all this strength in your relationship within. So you're casting votes into who you're going to be tomorrow. Yeah. You could cast a vote where, okay, I'm going to be a person of health and I'm going to choose healthy. Or I could just order McDonald's. Yeah. I'm going to be a person that goes to bed early and a person that reads. Or I could just go to Netflix and text all day, go on TikTok, scroll through it. You're constantly casting votes into the identity, the person that you want to be. Who are you? You are these actions. And whether it be self-love or self-hatred, it's all casting a vote into the person that you want to be. And at the end of it all, was it all worth it? Yeah. To binge all this crap put in your body, mind, body, and soul. Yeah. How do you balance self-improvement with self-acceptance in your personal and professional life? Self-improvement with self-acceptance? Yeah, because you constantly be like working towards yourself, right? You want to be better at the gym. You want to go to school, get your kinesiology degree.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you draw the line to where it's enough? You know, like how do you
Mm-hmm.
balance that? Like, what do you tell yourself?
I feel like it's tough because on one hand, like I truly could never, I could continue learning and getting better at things for the rest of my life. Like I could learn more about fitness. I could learn more about coaching. I could do a master's in anything. Like I can continue learning and continue improving, not approving,
Yeah, fair.
continue improving in so many aspects of my life that honestly, like the opportunities are endless. But I think it honestly ties into like for like the self improvement aspect, like it ties into self love and just like accepting yourself and living in the moment and accepting that you are this person right now and that there is so many opportunities and so many potentials that could happen in the future. But this person that you are now is here because of all the decisions you made in the past. And appreciating that and appreciating you for that will, for me personally, has led to self improvement in the moment. I am proud of who I am today because of every decision that I've made in the past. I'm glad that I took a year off after high school and went to school, and I went to McEwen first and I went to U of A, and I chose to take this practicum when I did because it's giving me such a great opportunity and a great place to learn. And because of that, now I have further opportunities in life ahead of me. But and because I've accepted everything within that path, I approve of where I am now. And yeah, I don't,
Oh,
yeah.
that makes sense. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when you progress through life and you become better in the field of kinesiology, as you learn more and you're constantly learning,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking a step back and you still appreciate the things that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still looking about life and you're still accepting yourself for who you are. And while things weren't the way they were before,
Mm-hmm.
you still take time to see that loved one, to look at yourself and go,
Yes.
hey, I'm proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Did I
Yes,
absorb that
exactly.
the
And it
same?
applies to every aspect of my life, honestly, like whether it's school, work, everything happens for a reason. And everything that happened in the past leads to where you are today. And every choice that you make will continue leading on to where you are tomorrow. And accepting that and accepting that you change daily and that I'm not the same person I was in high school. I'm not the same person I was a week ago. I am constantly learning and I'm constantly getting better. And that helps a lot with not feeling so, it helps a lot with confidence too, because once I accept that and once I can appreciate everything that has happened and that will happen, how could I not approve of the journey I'm on? Like, how could I not accept, you know what I mean?
Every
If that
single
makes sense.
action that you've taken so far has made you who you are
Mm-hmm.
today, the good, the bad, the
Mm-hmm.
the happy days, the miserable days. That's made you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to go back and extract certain things, delete and change and morph and go, what if, go look in the future and go, okay, what's going to happen next? And you get so built up and you get so anxious. I'm sure you go through that still where you
Mm-hmm.
do look in the past and still, but
Yes.
you try to be as present as possible in the moment and you
Mm-hmm.
still highlight your achievements and that's where you derive confidence and you try to spread that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I struggle because I honestly look in the past more than I look in the future. Um, like when I was saying earlier about the lowest of lows, like I honestly didn't think I would make it to university. Like I didn't think I would be here to be in university. And so I didn't really think about the future. Like when I was younger, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I didn't really think that hard about it. I didn't have all these crazy hopes and dreams. I lived in the present as much as I could, but mostly lived in the past. And as I'm learning to get out of that and live more in the present and then have a little more concern about the future, I've kind of accepted that whatever today is, like I have a tattoo on my arm that says Memento Mori. It means remember
I
you'll
love
die.
Memento Mori.
Yeah. Like tomorrow, I could get in a car crash on my way home today and I could not make it to see tomorrow. So why wouldn't I live today and do everything I could today as if I was going to die tomorrow? Like,
Marcus
why not?
Aurelius says that it's so crazy that people behave like they're going to live forever
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
Within the next hour, we could just drop dead from a heart attack
Yes.
or get struck by lightning or choke.
Mm-hmm.
People die from choking all the time.
Yeah.
Car crashes.
Yep.
Just maybe there's some piece of metal that falls from the sky from an airplane. It just happens to hit you in the head on your way to the car.
Yep.
But did you enjoy life? Did you live?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the Long-Term Podcast.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It was
Is
great.
there any last words you'd say to like cheerleaders or people that with body dysmorphia, or just a message of encouragement?
I think just find something that you enjoy and do it to your best of ability, and find ways to love yourself in it, and everything happens for a reason. Everything will snowball into one thing, and as long as you're trying to be positive, as long as you're trying intentionally to be a good person, then yeah.
Awesome. And as always, to everyone listening, watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope. Keep your faith and keep it long term. Peace. Till next time.